So yeah, one of the things I would argue is that you should not um, use the hackathon as a way to start a new project, but rather to meet people and learn. So okay, so the beginning, as I said, is exactly 1 year ago, right here. So I did this project, and it wasn't just me; it was three of us. So I guess the first question is team. I'm pretty convinced that the right people is much more important than the right idea, because that comes first, having the right people, and then you can sort of play around and remix. So the question is, okay, you're at a hackathon. What is the right team? So is this right? Back end, front end, and smart contracts. Um, like it turns out, especially if you're doing hackathons with sponsor bounties, a lot of the sponsors, they will have written their own smart contracts, and you interact with them through sort of backend SDK APIs or something like that. So smart contracts is not as common as I thought in the beginning. Um, maybe it's full stack backend. You do BD and design. Um, Again, like if you have a really competent front end engineer, they will know full stack because they need to know how to integrate it. They need to know how to build the front end without breaking the back end. That's not a given. A lot of people make like really beautiful websites, but then it's hard to like integrate it with the back end, and vice versa. Um, and of course, like knowing how to present, knowing how to design, and like market your product is important. But uh, in my view, at least in the context of a hackathon, the most important thing is like everyone needs to do needs to have as much as a full stack understanding as possible. And if you don't, that's totally okay. That's the point of the hackathon, is to learn that, in my view, is to grow and to meet people. So I probably should have asked at the beginning, um do you guys do you guys know what it means building in public? Or maybe it's not a completely strict definition. Like building in public is the process of using like revealing everything about how you're iterating and building in order to get fast feedback and be able to build something that people actually need. One of the common startup mistakes is that people say, oh, we have the best idea. We're gonna like just sit in a room for a year, build it. Then you go out to the public, you give out this product, and oh, there's no product market fit. Nobody wants it. Nobody needs it. And you thought that you knew what people wanted, but you don't. And you like it's almost impossible that you can guess that. It takes a lot of fine tuning. So when I say build in public, it means that I literally will post videos on X that show, oh, this is my latest feature. How I've been building it, like literally behind the scenes, and some people enjoy watching that. So that's the okay. So this was like okay during the hackathon. After the hackathon, okay, maybe one of your teammates, they're already a founder of another company, or maybe they're a contractor. They like people are busy. Even if say that you hit like the great idea, you win a lot of prizes, you want to keep going. People are not like it. To do this seriously means like you focus on it and you spend a lot of time on it. And a lot of people think, oh, if it starts going well, if I get the grant, then I will start doing this full time or like spend a lot of time on it. But it's the other way around. In order to like get to that point, you need to spend time. So sometimes it's hard to keep it going. And that brings me some suggestions about this first part. Yeah, this is just like a summary. And this is just my perspective. Like, take it or not. I think right now you should be worried about meeting the right people for down the line. So I was talking, for example, about last year's ETHWarsaw. And my teammates, I'm great friends with one of them. I see him all the time. The other one, I don't see him as much. Different city, but like a lot of the people I meet at conferences and hackathons become extremely important. 2 years ago, within my team, I randomly happened with one of the guys who ended up being one of the founders of Crecimiento in Argentina. So like, and bringing DevConnect to Argentina this year. So you never know who you're gonna meet. You never know what paths they'll take. So I think that's number one value of coming to these things. And also, don't worry about product market fit. You're trying to like implement hard technology, and when you're implementing sponsored technology, a lot of time you're dog fooding new features, so they won't will not be completely ready. They will be hard to implement. You're working on your technical skills. And third, learning full stack web development. Again, this is my view that the best CEO is also a decent CTO. So, regardless of whether you think you're going to be the technical person or not in the long game, it's really, really useful to have these basic understanding. Okay, moving on. So, as I said, my teammates, we all had stuff to do. It's not like we were just like waiting around for something to do. So even though various sponsors told us you should keep building this, it's very valuable, keep going. We were like, okay, let's put it in the drawer. It's interesting. Maybe sometime later we'll do it. Um, so just a little over a month later, I went to Thailand. So this was one of the pop-up villages that were before DevCon last year, and that too can fit into the definition of building in public. Because when I arrived there, I realized like, oh my god, I'm literally surrounded by my target audience. Like this is like the perfect place to build it out. See if there's actually demand for it, if people need this, if people actually like it. Um, I'm specifically not going into detail about what Cherry.Builders is because that's not the point of this talk. Maybe I'll mention it briefly at the end. But regardless, like depending on what your product does, what your service does, find the people who are your target audience, whether it's online or in person. Maybe you can't spend a month in Thailand. But actually, if you're open to that, you should know that these kind of things offer scholarships and sponsorships and all sorts of things. I actually did not pay for my accommodation for this for 1 month in Thailand. And being there gave me the chance to start building it and testing and iterating. I was in a very fast loop. My two teammates were not there in Thailand, but I said, look, I'm in this great situation. You want to help me? So they actually helped me build the features based on the feedback that I was getting in Thailand. So I was there doing sort of business development, talking to people all the time, presenting on stage and so on, and also building a little bit. And at the same time, my two teammates were building. But this was not they didn't have time. So one of them was solo founder of another project, and the other was an employee of a company. So they decided like not to take it forward. And so moving forward, it was just me. So after this 1 month of iteration, I felt like, oh, I understand the right user experience that people will use. So up until this point, the only people who used Cherry.Builders were people who I asked to use it. I was like, try this out. This is my app. Can you tell me what you think? Nobody used it without me asking them. I think that's a good definition of product market fit. People using your thing without you asking them to. But I felt like I reached the right user experience so that people would actually use it. So imagine in this first period, I just trialed until I found that. And I had a lot of opportunities just from going out of my comfort zone. And by the way, I knew 0 people when I went to this. I just sort of went out of my comfort zone, And like one of the presentation, like this is just a funny anecdote. It's like, oh, do you want to come present at the demo today? There will be Vitalik, and it's like, okay, these are opportunities to get it in front of important people. And then actually, this is there in Thailand. There was a presentation about crecimiento, and that's what leads me to the third chapter, which is a few months later in Argentina at the event that this is Juan Bennett from Protocol Labs. He was talking about. So again, a few suggestions from this part. So find your target audience, and that doesn't have to be in person; it can be online. And building public. So if you see on the Twitter page of both Cherry.Builders and of myself, there's a lot of like constant posts of like, this is the new feature I've been building. This is the like, here's how I've built it, and so on. And then leverage momentum when you have it. You know, I arrived at this Thailand event not thinking I'm going there to build out this product. I got there and it was like, oh, here is the perfect place to do this. Let's scale up and like focus on this. Like, let's pivot my plan of what I'm gonna do here. And third, when the first wave. Okay, so this is a bit poetic, but I think it's very important that when the first wave hits, like you're not gonna be positioned for it. But that doesn't mean like it's impossible to have the vision first, completely clear, and then start. You start, and while you're on the way, that's when the vision becomes clearer and clearer. You need to take a step forward. So you won't be ready, but it will make you ready for the next wave. So the next wave was Buenos Aires in March. This was the March pop-up village of Buenos Aires. Again, I want to make it very clear. You don't have to be a nomad and go around the world for the build in public approach. It's just about finding your audience and not worrying about, oh, are they gonna steal my idea? No, talk to everyone. Like literally, you want to get the feedback and you want to iterate and you want to have a loop where you're like constantly changing based on what people tell you. So I arrived here and I knew, or at least I was convinced that I had the right UX. So the first one in Thailand was about figuring out the UX. Now here it was time to put it into action. So this was, in my view, the first time that Cherry had product market fit. So I'll give you like just the basic. Maybe some of you know that Cherry.Builders is matchmaking to find teammates for hackathons. So it's you can find your teammates using it. It's a bit like a dating app, but for collaborators. And this was the first time for the hackathon in March in Buenos Aires where people used it and it was useful to them. And we set it up, we advertised it, and then a lot of people used it without me saying like, oh, can you use it to test, please? I didn't do that, and it was actually useful to people. So, I mean, obviously that's not the end, but like this is like getting to that stage. And notice that I haven't talked about grants. I haven't talked about, incorporating a company. Like all of this comes before, like grinding on it, like honing in on what is the right user experience for your users. That all comes way before you think about creating a limited company. First advice, looking around, there will be synergies you can leverage. So I'm with Urbe. That's the Urbe campus next door. Basically, Urbe is a community in Rome. We're the organizers of ETH Rome and many other things, including this boot camp next door. So when I got to Crecimiento, what I did was I got into the startup accelerator with Cherry. But I knew that I wasn't gonna ask for funding because that wasn't the right time for me. And so I leveraged Cherry for Urbe, and then I leveraged Urbe for Cherry. So about keeping your eyes open for those synergies and using them, and also following the path of least resistance. Yeah, as I was saying, like literally, I was in Thailand and I was discovering about Argentina and it made sense. So I decided to go there. And at each of these steps, it was like going out of my comfort zone, going to these things where I knew no one turned out to be a massive advantage. And starting before you're ready. Like there's no way that you're gonna have the clear picture at the get-go. All right, so that's all I had to say. But I'm actually happy to stay and talk and answer any questions you guys have, because obviously this was a small part. After this journey, I like in the last few months I actually incorporated it, and I have partnered with many hackathons, including ETHWarsaw. If you're looking for people to hack with this weekend, you can use Cherry.Builders. And yeah, I'm gonna open it up for questions if you guys have any. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yep.
Wait.
Thanks for your experience, just sharing of your experience. But I want to know that if it's very hard for me to get teammates, then which means that because I am a digital nomad now, and and it's hard to find a base, so it's hard to meet people in person or build in person together. So I want to know that if all of my teammates are AI, then how to find the right AI agent as my teammate.
Okay. I mean, the way I use AI is to coordinate the AI. If you want, like, as far as I know, the most autonomous thing in coding that is Cloud Code. If you're prepared to spend because it doesn't come cheap. If you're using it all day, every day, you might end up spending $200 or $300 per month. Huh? Really? Oh, so okay. The answer is move to Poland. Okay. Okay. Well, anyway, in answer to your question, yeah, I mean, it really helps supercharge your development to use these tools effectively, staying on top of the trends. I mostly just use Cursor, and that has allowed me to pretty much 10x the speed at which I do things. In some cases, even more. I'm like I think the way that you're looking at it is, instead of having teammates, I'm gonna team up with AI agents. But with AI agents, you're not teaming up with them. You're orchestrating them. You're overseeing everything and telling them what to do. So it's that paradigm.
Maybe harder than to find a teammate.
I mean, you don't have to train your AI agents. You just need to use one of the existing products.
Existing product.
So again, within Cursor, you have, for instance, Claude Sonnet 4. You use that. You ask it to implement your tasks. You can run multiple in parallel. If you're using Claude Code, that's a CLI tool. So in your terminal, again, you're saying, do this task for me, and you can specify which model to use.
Okay, I got. So Cursor, I already marked it. Okay, thanks a lot for your answer.
Questions? Okay, then thanks, Deca. Big round of applause.